And we are back with the next edition of the All Things Sports Podcast here with Rockland News. I'm your host, Tom Brady. Tonight's a very special live broadcast. We are broadcasting from NoCo Joe's Sports Bar in Piermont. If you have not been down here yet, it's a brand new family-owned sports bar. You need to make your way down here. If you have no plans for the New York Knicks game tonight, this is the place you want to be when the Knicks wrap it up tonight. NoCo Joe's. It's your place to be in Piermont, all things sports. So we usually focus on the Rockland County sports, but tonight we need to take a small pivot because it's in everybody's sports minds, everybody sports fans' minds. At Rockland County, New York, it doesn't matter. Is tonight the night the Knicks end the 53 years of futility? The pain, the frustration, does it all end tonight? A lot of people believe so. It will, the closeout game is always the hardest to win, but the excitement is very high everywhere, especially down here at NoCo Joe's. So I want to open up the show just by introducing somebody very special who made today happen. And the owner of NoCo Joe's, Joe Agnello. He is the hard work and the brains behind the operation. He started with a catering company, had a food truck, catering company, and small restaurant, and he just recently opened up here down in Piermont. So right now I want to welcome on to the show is Joe Agnello, owner of NoCo Joe's Sports Bar. Joe, welcome aboard, and thank you for hosting us this evening. We appreciate everything. This place is beautiful.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it.
Sure. So just give a little history about Joe. I've known Joe for a little while, and it's been a couple of years since I've seen him. And what I said to him the other day, I said, Joe, the last time I saw you, you had opened up your smaller restaurant right across from where you had your food truck and your catering kitchen. And I remember the look of stress in your eyes. You turn around and now you do something like this. You know, tell me your thought process. What was it that pushed you to do it? And as I tell you, this place is absolutely off the hook. If you need a place to watch a game in Rockland County, this is it. So tell me how you did this.
Oh, I appreciate it. So you're right. We had a smaller restaurant, about 50 seats. I heard that this place was available. Came and took a look at it, and as soon as I looked at it, I said, I know what to do with this place. And my vision here was I wanted to build what I grew up going to. I wanted to build those bars that were just super casual. Bring your family, no matter you're coming from the gym and you're in your sweats or you're coming from work and you're in a suit. Everyone's welcome, good time, super casual spot, a lot of games, a lot of hanging out, whatever it may be. This is literally what I grew up going to when I was 21, but maybe a little younger. And to be honest, the stress level, while increased because of the increased real estate,
sure.
I've actually never felt more confident about a business move that I've made. And I think that this is, I kind of feel like we're scratching an itch that otherwise wasn't reached before.
Well, let me tell you, as a sports fan, you have scratched an itch for everybody in Rockland County because this place is absolutely amazing. You definitely put a lot of thought process into the spacing where the games are, some of the TVs, the bar seating, where the bar stools are, your seating area to sit down and eat dinner. I'm telling you, the layout and the spaciousness. You can fit a lot of people in here, and you're not shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow. You have to worry about on your busier nights. So let me tell you, my first time down here, it won't be my last. And let me tell you, this is the place to be. And guys, if you don't have a place to watch the game tonight, let me just tell you, go tell your wife you're taking the dog out for a walk or something, and get down here to NoCo Joe's in Piermont. This is absolutely an amazing place. So you started on the food end of things, and how long ago did you start the catering company?
16 years. Been in business for 16 years, and the slow evolution of the business, as you said, I moved from strictly catering to then we bought a food truck right around COVID, which served a great purpose, got us through that time, and really helped us out. And then moved to a restaurant, again the smaller restaurant, and then just this evolved with natural progression, and it was very organic, which is why it felt like the right move for me.
And the location, you're right here on the water, okay? And everybody, doesn't matter where you live in Rockland County, everybody has gone to dinner on the water in Piermont. So with that in mind, because I didn't even know that you had opened the place, I had heard about it. I was at an event next door at the catering facility, and I said, oh my gosh, he's open. I peeked in, I said, I got to get down here. And this is, let me tell you, you've hit a home run with the location. The space is awesome. And so far, your staff, let me tell you, top notch. Everybody come running over to us if we need anything. And, we just, right here at Rockland News, all things sports, we wish you all the best. We hope we have a great relationship coming down here for all the big games, not only tonight's Knick game, future Yankee World Series and Giants Super Bowls.
That's what I'm talking about.
We'll see what happens. So, all right, now you're open. Now you're off and running. Okay. So what's a day in the life of Joe, this owner, instead of the catering owner and the small restaurant owner?
Well, starts at about 5 a.m. And, to throw another wrinkle into the mix, we also operate the Tallman Beach and Pool Club down in Tallman State Park. So I'm also a certified pool operator. On top of being a chef and restaurateur and entrepreneur, I am a certified pool operator too. So my day right now starts down at the pool, checking chemical levels, making sure my pools are all in balance. And then I get down to the restaurant, or I'm at Restaurant Depot picking up what we need for the day. And then I'm usually stationed here. I tell everybody I live at the restaurant, I sleep at home.
Oh, yeah. And it also sounds like family vacations are during winter.
Yeah, absolutely. When things slow down, we'll take a vacation. But you know what? We're very fortunate to be where we are and to be as successful as we have been out of the gate for the first 3 months. And, hustle while it's there. I know what it's like when it's not. So I'm not afraid to hustle while it's there.
Oh, yeah, and that's proof in your catering company being so successful. Yeah, your name is out there everywhere. I have a side party rental business. I've run into many of my customers when I ask them, where they order. Just 2 weeks ago, one of my customers ordered from you. She goes, "Oh, I gotta go pick up the catering." I said, "Where are you going?" She goes, "Oh, NoCo Joe's. You heard of them?" Yep, I absolutely have. So your reputation was there. So this wasn't like a startup, really. You had that foundation of success. It's kind of like you just decided to throw the sports and the bar in with a successful food operation, and here we are.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great point, because if this was a startup, I probably wouldn't be doing it because I'd be insane without having the following that I have for the past 16 years. And this business isn't where it is today without that following, without the community. We've gone through a lot of ups and downs in the business, and one of them being an absolutely detrimental fire that we sustained about 5 years ago, to the point where I was ready to pack it in after that. I said, you know what, enough's enough, and I've had it. But then I kept going, head down, keep going, and just wound up here, and I'm without the community, without the support I had at those times, at the lowest of times, I wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, and when you say that, let me tell everybody, because I'm telling you, when I bumped into Joe a few years back when he opened the smaller restaurant, and the look of stress in his eyes, obviously when you do anything with an overhead like that, you're going to worry about it. But let me tell you, the look in your eyes right now, there's a lot more serenity and confidence in what you did. You say the best business move you ever did?
100%.
I can tell you from my seat, I could see it mentally, which is great. You've already done, in my eyes and your reputation, you got the success, with the catering, and looking at you now and looking at the way this place is laid out, this is absolutely phenomenal. We're wishing you all the best. You got all the support here. All of Rockland needs to find out about this. The only family-owned sports bar in Rockland County. So if you need a place to watch the game, NoCo Joe's in Piermont is the place to be. Joe, thank you for taking a few seconds of your time, or your busy time, taking care of all these great customers. And, thank you for having us. And hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely, Tom. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me. Appreciate you guys being here.
Sure. All right, everybody. That was Joe Agnello, owner of NoCo Joe's here in Piermont. You hear his backstory, which is absolutely phenomenal. Again, it's a family-owned business. Let's get out and do the Rockland thing, and support those who are out here supporting us in the community and people who care about people. And like I said, I've known Joe for a little while, and he's definitely one of those who goes out of his way to help others. So obviously the big sports fan in Joe made it a sports bar. And again, this is all things sports in Rockland, but this is the night the Knicks end the 53 years of heartbreak. Or is it? We'll dive into that a little bit more in a minute. So all things sports podcast. We are brand new, okay, a few months old. And just tell you a little bit about what our goal is, what we're looking to do here on All Things Sports. We want to help out local businesses like this one ourselves. What we want to do is bring you what's going on in our community sports-wise. You can turn on ESPN and see what the Knicks are doing, the Rangers are doing. But do you know what your local high school is doing? Do you know your local high school might have an All-American who's going to a big-time college who might be playing pro ball in 4 to 6 years? So we want to give you all those updates, keep you posted on what's going on in all Rockland County sports. So with that in mind, I do have one story that's, again, semi-Rockland, mostly Rockland. In the Rockland County, Rockland Gaelic Athletic Association, the RGAA, and the GAA, as most people may know it, most of you probably have been down there for an event, for probably a party, some live music, not even notice that there were athletic fields there. So the GAA is home to Gaelic Athletic Association, all Irish sports, Gaelic football, camogie, and hurling. So based out of there is ages, I believe they start as young as 4 or 5 years old with the training and go all the way up through the men's and women's leagues. So our big story we got coming out of Rockland, the Gaelic girls Fela football team, which is basically the all-star team for the Gaelic girls. It's a New York State team. However, the Rockland story here lies that half the team comes from the Rockland club. This is 14 and 15-year-old girls only. Half of the team comes from our club. The other half of the team comes from the rest of the state of New York. And also, the committee has chosen the coach of that team, the two coaches of that team, to coach this all-star team. Now, what is this all-star team? What do they do? So they basically train like Olympians because they go over to Ireland to play in a national tournament over there. They head over next Monday, the 22nd, and they play in a tournament the following Saturday. This team has basically trained together. It's basically like an Olympic team. When they started about 3 months ago, they practice 2 or 3 times a week. The team camaraderie and the team building exercises that they do, they bring in, they go out, and one of their first team building exercises, the coaches had them run a 5K together. Okay, there you go for team building. All right, getting in shape, getting ready. Now, I have been tied to this team. I've been lucky enough to be very closely tied to this team. My daughter has made the team. So I've gotten to see how the coaches have bonded together, these girls. Now, they've all played against each other during the regular season over the past few years. And again, 12 of them are from the same team. However, they have come together as a close-knit group. They are going to be ready for this tournament. However they make out, great. Doesn't matter. The experience is experience of a lifetime. They have put the greatest effort forward. These coaches have done an amazing job. Now, the best part about it with all things sports is, of course, I will be going across the pond and be reporting live from the tournament itself over in Ireland. And we will give you, updates on everything. Next week, I'm going to have some interviews with the coaching staff. And they will tell you a little bit more about, what Fela is. What, some people have never even heard of, Gaelic football, or some of you don't know where the RGAA is. The Gaelic Athletic Association down in Orangeburg. Amazing facility, great place, great people. So we're going to update you next week. A little interview with the coaches, maybe get some of the girls to come on and give a quick blurb of how they're feeling. Because I tell you, when they started out, they were definitely 24 individuals. And I've seen the coaches put 24 these 24 individuals together as a team, which is absolutely amazing. Great job by them. So we're going to introduce you to them later in the week. You will have here on All Things Sports Rockland. And again, we're All Things Sports Rockland live at NoCo Joe's in Piermont, the best and most amazing family-owned sports bar in Rockland County. I'm telling you, people, it's brand new, a few months old, and this is definitely going to be a place where any type of big game, you're going to want to come down. If you want to have any type of large gathering, you just heard from the owner, Joe Agnello. They are experts in the catering business. That's how he started out. That's how he built his name. So a little introduction about myself. I'm your host, Tom Brady. I joined Rockland News as their strength and conditioning and holistic health expert. So one of the things I do is I actually help the athletes get ready for their sport. I was a high school and college athlete, along with being a strength and conditioning coach for the past 24 years. I also have 20 years of coaching experience in sports through youth, through high school, small college, and semi-pro. So when we talk about what these athletes do, I want to give you a quick rundown of what an athlete runs through in the course of 1 year, okay? It doesn't matter what sport they play, we're just going to call it season, okay? When they're in season, there is certain types of training they're doing other than just their normal practice. As soon as their season ends, all right, you shift right to your first postseason. Now, postseason for an athlete, one of the most important parts of their training. And why is it important? Because you need to become 100% healthy. So that ankle sprain that bothered you through the season, something that you didn't think was major, that could affect your squats, what you're doing in the gym, what you're doing on the track. You want to get a little bit faster, but you're being slowed down by an ankle injury that happened, could have been in the first month of your whatever season you played in. So in the postseason, your first goal is to be 100% healthy. And then your off-season training hits. And as strength and conditioning coach, what we do is we have to periodize your training based on how many weeks do we have. How many weeks do we have until a camp? How many weeks do we have until a season starts? And so forth. So your training will get periodized to when you're getting stronger. If you need to be putting on any size, are there mobility, agility issues? Everybody's training should be personal, but yet within the context of the team and the group of where you need to be. Then all of a sudden we get through all that, and that could be anywhere from 10 to 25 weeks, depending on what sport and how long your sport is. Then at the end of that, we actually get into your preseason training. This is where you hear the professional athletes, pulling a hamstring, and you say, how does this happen? They're getting paid millions of dollars. Not everybody's actually doing what they're supposed to be doing 24/7. So in the preseason type of training, you need to make sure your body's ready for your sport, ready for the context of your camp. Because once you go to a camp, doesn't matter what sport it is, you're going to be practicing more than one time a day. And you got to make sure your body's ready for that. And then as soon as you're done with your preseason, we're back to where we started, where you're on your in-season program. And yes, there is in-season training that needs to be done. So with all that in mind, we do have our first guest coming onto the show. With All Things Sports here in Rockland County, we have a basketball coach coming on. Being that we are celebrating the KNICKS up 3-1, we all hope today is the end of the 53 years of heartbreak. So right now I want to welcome onto the show Coach Curve Ferdilis. He is the head coach for the girls, NICKS girls basketball team. Coach Curve, come on up. All right. Coach Curve, how are we doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
All right. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule and coming down and joining the All Things Sports podcast here in Rockland and with Rockland News.
Thanks for the invite.
Sure. So tell us a little bit about you, the team you coach. You actually came off an amazingly, successful season. Although if you don't win your last game, we never view it as successful. But when you're looking back now, I'm sure you can say, "Wow, we accomplished a lot." Tell us a little bit about your season.
This was my 4th year coaching girls varsity basketball at NICKS High School. I actually used to coach boys modified for 2 years, or I guess 3 years before then. So when the girls' job opened up, I was encouraged by a lot of people to go for the job and coach the team. And so I've been there for 4 years, and this year was a special one for us for sure. When I first started, we had a very young team, so we took our lumps early. And I remember talking to my assistant coach. I said, "We're gonna get to where all these other teams are. The TZs, the Pearl Rivers, the Walter Panises. We were just young. Those teams were older. They had their seniors, they had their juniors, they had the vets that knew what it was like to play varsity basketball. And we were in 9th and 10th grade, and so when I always thought about it every year. The first year I was there, we were the 18th seed. We played the 17th seed, and then went to the number 1 seed, got killed. Following year, we did much better. We were the 10th seed or 8th seed. We were able to get like a home game, won that game, and then went to 1 seed, got killed. And then last year, we were the 6th seed, got a home game, went again, and then ended up going to the number 1 seed again, Panis, who was really, really good the past couple of years, and lost. And then this year, we were the number 1 seed, and we went all the way to the section championship, won the section championship, and then we went to the regionals. We won the sub-regional, and then we won the regional championship, and made it all the way to the Final Four in the States. And we got to the Final Four, and we came up short in the Final Four by 3 points.
Wow,
3
listen,
or 4 points, yeah.
Coming up short right now. I mean, what you just showed, the progress you made. Believe me, anybody listening is telling you you did not come up short. The progress that you've made, as a program, that's absolutely incredible. So you're talking step by step by step. But now, as a coach and former athlete, now you're that close. You're knocking on the door.
Yeah.
So what do you got to do to kick that door in?
So I think with a lot of the girls coming back from this team, I think the goal they set for themselves this year is different than they did this past season. Our goal this past season, to be honest, was to win the league.
Wow.
Right. Our goal was to win the league, and that was the goal. That's what we were focusing on. And at one point we were 13, 14-0, and it was just like, okay, we're still trying to win the league. And that was the goal. And after that, we just took one game at a time. And I think the girls coming back next year, I think our goal is also the same thing. We're going to win. We got to win the league. Right. And then we're going to go, listen, all right, once we accomplish that, we got to go and accomplish the next thing. And I think at that point, you got to take one game at a time, because it's either you win or you go home, especially during the playoffs. So I think.
And that's it. As a coach also, I've always said to anybody I've ever coached, whatever team I've always coached, I said, listen, as a team, we basically have 2 simple goals. Number 1, qualify for the playoffs. Right. Number 2, win your last game.
Right.
If you follow those 2, you're doing exactly what you did, game by game by game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you had all this success this year as a team, but you mentioned to me you got a lot of the girls coming back.
Yes, I do. We have a lot. So this past season, we had 9 girls. We had 9 girls on the team, and we only had 2 seniors. One was the starter, and the other one was our 6th man. So 7 of the 9 girls will be returning.
Well, you guys all heard that. So anybody who's interested in high school sports, you just put a team on your radar to follow next season. We know who. Now, also, being where you were when you took over this program, to being where you're at now you got to realize, and as a coach, I know you're going to tell the girls, like, listen, we used to walk into a gym and people used to just look at us, but now you're going to walk in with the bullseye in your back.
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be, you're going to get that team's best effort that night.
Yeah. That's the thing. Everybody's going to play us way harder than they used to.
That's right.
And we can't underestimate anyone.
And so I'm sure, I know you, and I know you as a coach, you're definitely going to have the girls ready for that. That along with trying to win a state championship is going to be obviously one of the biggest issues with the team coming forward. But sounds like these girls are focused and ready to go anyway.
Yeah, these girls they're resilient, and they work hard. With them, they're also a very tight-knit group off the court. I think that's what really helped us a lot this past season. They used to go to a lot of games with each other. Like, I'd go scout a team, and I'd be walking in the gym. Oh, here's Coach Curve. I turn around, 8 of them are there. They're just together. They're watching the game. They sat together during lunch. They watched, live streams together of other teams that we play. So I think them being tight-knit on the court, off the court, made a huge difference on the court.
Wow, that's excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so you got a little bit of expectations this upcoming season.
Yep.
What is the plan? What have you rolled out for them? Are you starting a little bit more summer work? Saying our goal has shifted to we want to end on the mountaintop instead of just saying, all right, we want to win our section, we want to win our league.
Yeah.
Because you have to put it out there. You make the Final Four, there's only one more step.
Right.
So, tell us a little bit about, how have you changed the summer programming? What have you done to say, all right, as a coach, now I got to coach next level. Now I got to do this. I got to get them ready to make that last step. What have you guys done? So,
what's crazy is this year, the girls actually reached out to me first. Reached out to me first, like, Coach, when are we going to get back into the gym? So, like I said before, I had 9 girls. 6 of them actually played lacrosse. And our lacrosse team actually just made it all the way to the States also this week. They actually lost yesterday in the state semifinals to the number 4 ranked team in the nation in girls lacrosse. So, we had 6 girls that were still playing lacrosse. So I said, listen, whenever you guys are done with lacrosse, we could definitely get back in the gym. But those that weren't playing lacrosse, they're still playing AAU. And whenever we can, we get them into the gym. But for the summer, I'm going to have a schedule. We're going to play fall ball. We did the past few years. I think it's helped us a lot playing fall ball. The summer, I think we're going to work a lot with the young kids and try to rebuild our JV team because we didn't have a believe it or not, we didn't have a JV team last year. So that's actually one of the goals this summer is rebuilding our JV team, getting the 8th graders and the 7th graders involved and getting them involved early in the program.
Wow. All right. Anybody listening that lives in the NIAC area, let's go. If you got girls at 7th, 8th grade, they're any type of a good athlete and you want them to be, first of all, coached by an amazing person, amazing coach. Coach Curve's your guy. Let's support Coach building up this program.
Absolutely.
And it's obvious you heard him state where this program was when he took over and where they're at now.
Right.
You're talking about scratching the itch of winning a state championship.
Right.
If I
would have
asked you your first day on the job, hey, how about a state championship? I mean, how hard would you have laughed at that?
Definitely would have been belly aching laugh.
The only way to get the state championship then was buying a ticket to get in, right?
Absolutely. And that's something I did. I'd go to the county center, watch these games. I'm like, we got to make it here.
That's it.
And that's one thing I envisioned, for the team, for the girls, and for the NIAC community. I was like, this is something that we can achieve. And I always spoke to my coaches about it. I never said it to the girls, but the girls, when they came up to me and said, listen, Coach, we got to win the league this year. I was like, all right, let's do it. And it was great to see that because they set a goal for themselves and, they definitely overachieved.
All right. So you have this, obviously, a tight group of girls. Now, when we talk about next level after high school, is there anybody that is standing out that somebody says, hey, the scouts are asking you, hey, does this one do good in school? How's her attitude? Because we obviously see she can play on the court.
So I do have a girl, Rakia Muhammad. She's in 10th grade currently. She's been gaining a lot of interest from Division I schools. She's currently playing travel with the Empire State Blue Flames, which is a really, really great team in the Hudson Valley. They play on the New Balance circuit. So she's gotten a lot of interest. ECU, Fairleigh Dickinson, Manhattan, Siena. She just got Townsend the other day.
Wow.
So she's gotten a lot of offers and a lot of interest from some schools.
And she's only going to be a junior.
Yes, she's only going to be in 11th grade next year.
Wow.
Right. And she was one of our leaders this past year as a sophomore. And so she has 2 more years with the program.
Oh, that's great stuff. As a coach, you're definitely saying, wow, this is great. 2 more years of this. Let's go.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
I'll get back in the gym 24/7.
Yeah, she's great about it too. She loves being in the gym.
All right. So you guys have heard from Coach Curve all about his NIAC team. But we can't let you out of here as a basketball coach with talking about the elephant in the room. The New York Knicks are up 3-1. Okay. Even though they're up 3-1, every game has been a dogfight.
Right.
Let's hear it from you. Coach, what do you expect tonight? And do the Knicks finally get this done?
I think they do, honestly, and I think they win by a lot tonight. They've been playing so well on the road. They played very well in San Antonio first 2 games. I feel like when they come back to the Garden, I feel like there's more pressure on them in the Garden. So like some people are like, oh, we want them to win the Garden. I'm like, I hope they win in San Antonio.
I think you're right. They came out game 3, and that was the worst they had looked in all the playoffs.
Oh my goodness!
And that included. They lost 2 games to the Hawks in the first round, but they were both by a point. Yeah. I don't remember them looking as bad in the first 5 or 6 minutes of that game as they had all season, all playoff run.
Right.
So, there's definitely a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
And listen, they're road warriors, and the way I call this team is, obviously they're talented. They're in the NBA. They're great. However, the heart of a champion cannot be spoken about enough.
Right.
I believe that this team, when they put this team together, that trade for Josh Hart was on many different levels. Obviously, Josh is a very good player.
Yep.
But look what he accomplished in college. He's best friends with their star player.
Yep.
The heart of a champion, and I call it the Villanova effect on this team.
I think so too, man. Those guys know what it takes to win, and they do it. Josh Hart, I think game 3 or game 2, had 3 points, 15 rebounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There you go.
Like he's not going out there looking to score. He's going out there to do what it takes to win.
And that's it. And he doesn't care what it takes.
Exactly.
He doesn't care what his box score looks like.
Yep.
And how many Instagram followers he's getting because, or any type of selfie he takes with, one of the celebrities on Celebrity Row.
Right.
He wants the ring.
Right.
He wants to win. And, I believe that is what is different with this team than any Knicks team I've seen. And I lived through the 90s Knicks, and I love them all to death. The Ewing, but Ewing never had the entire team. I always say the 90s Knicks, the best team was the 98 team where they got into the fight because Ewing was still playing top notch.
Right.
They brought in Larry Johnson and Allen Houston, and I think that fight ruined their best chance for a championship, even though they made the championship in 94 and 99.
Yeah.
But as a team, you still didn't feel the way you do with this team.
Right.
Like you said before, like they refuse to lose. Like this is okay, great. They're down by 7 with 2 minutes left. All right, well, there's still 2 minutes left.
Right. I think that's what I always look at the bright side.
Yeah.
I think they look at the bright side. It's like, oh, well, all right. Well, the game's not over. So we're still gonna go out there and play. And that attitude it's great to see. And
no more proof than the other night. I mean,
absolutely.
How do you draw up a Hollywood finish of that game?
That was electric.
Well, let me ask you as a coach, because I and obviously as a coach and athlete, I dissected that whole last few seconds, many different ways. Now, the young coach from the Spurs elected not to guard the inbound passer when he has a guy who's 7'6" who could just block his view of the sun.
Right.
So he elected to double team Brunson.
Okay.
Brunson still gets the ball, gets the shot off.
Right. And not a lot of people give Brunson credit. Brunson doesn't hold on the ball too long. No. So you get a chance to get a rebound.
Right.
Right. If Brunson holds on to that ball too long and he shoots it right before the buzzer, OG never gets that tip in.
Right.
So I think he deserves just as much credit. Not as much, but he deserves some credit too.
And you're talking about a catch and shoot, and he was a good 35 feet from the basket. Let's throw that on top of it. But also what happened was, who was the inbounder? Was OG.
OG was inbounder.
So nobody was there to block him out. He takes the path right down the center.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, he gets the tip in. So if anybody's out there, slow-mo that. And I'm telling you, you see OG's path right to the basket is unimpeded.
If you see that too, OG also comes to the ball after he passes it to Jalen Brunson as because he sees the double team. So he's thinking maybe Jalen Brunson passes it out. But when he sees that he pulls it, he shoots it, he sprints right to that basket.
Yep. Yeah. And then we talk about the coaching aspect. So you got the rookie coach with the Spurs.
Yep.
That could have been a rookie mistake. So what does the veteran coach from the Knicks do after the timeout? He puts his biggest guy on the inbound passer.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. If not, slow-mo it. Towns gets a little tip of that ball.
That clock should have started way earlier than it did.
And on top of that, I want everybody, if you can slow-mo that, everybody go to Castle. Hart was guarding Castle. Castle was wide open for the alley-oop. Hart got picked off. And nobody sees that. If you got to slow-mo that, and Castle was wide open. This game is over for San Antonio. If you watch that clip and just watch Castle and Hart gets picked off out of there, and Castle is wide open. But now with that little bit of a tip, the ball
has to come back to the ball. Yeah.
And then you only have 1 or 2 seconds, whatever it was.
1.2.
There's no time.
Yeah.
So, but every game has been like that.
Right.
You expect a big showing by the Knicks tonight.
Yes.
I've also said with this series that, my opinion is, the rookie coach might have taken the rookie legs a little too far. I feel Wemby's just worn down, and he played every minute of the fourth quarter the other night. He misses 2 free throws at the end.
Yes.
He played, I believe it was game 2, game 3. He played 38 minutes, whatever, some crazy number.
Yeah.
And he misses an elbow jumper as a 7'5" guy.
Yeah.
So what you don't want to do is, sit there and get your star player. He's winded at the end, but I also think he's winded from the length of the season. They've never played this many games this long, this competitive before.
2 game, was it? I think the first round, it goes game 7.
Yeah. And then they would go game 7 in the conference finals.
Yeah.
So you're talking to guys who are 22, 21, 20, never played like this before.
Yeah.
So, again, it's just all chips lining up for the Knicks. Let's get this done.
It's the year, man. It's the year.
You've seen them go after Brunson.
Right.
And they've made it a target. They've made it known.
Right. And it just seems to piss them off.
And that's exactly what it does. Again, the heart of a champion.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, bring it. I'm here. You're here.
I think that's like one of those people. It's like you got to punk someone else, not him, because it's just going to rile him up and make him go for 40.
And the craziest thing about this Knicks team, because, when you listen to, especially all those guys that everybody loves, the announcers there on TNT, when you see, Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny Smith and Reggie Miller doing the games, when you hear guys like Reggie Miller complimenting the Knicks team, Barkley complimenting this Knicks, I've been a Knicks fan, for 55 years. I haven't heard compliments from any of these guys on any Knicks team. So, something's going down, right?
Exactly. I've been a delusional Knicks fan too. I remember I saw him on my Facebook page. I think I was in 11th grade. Knicks are going to win the championship this year, 2011. I was just delusional, but I always love watching the Knicks. I always love rooting for the Knicks, even when they were bad. But I think this is their time, and it'd be great for the state of New York.
Oh yeah. This would be insanity. And I always say, politically, I hope the new mayor of New York City is really got his stuff together, because he has no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
Because don't look at a Giants or Yankees parade. You're going to get 3 times the crowd.
Yeah.
New York City is a Knicks-controlled town, and a lot of people don't understand that. Madison Square Garden sold out for years when they were in last place.
Yep.
and all of a sudden you get a good Knicks team, that city turns upside down.
Exactly.
So, we all hope and pray this mayor's got his stuff together and he's ready for something that the city has never seen, because in 1973 we didn't have the parades like that.
Right.
So
Totally different now.
And most New Yorkers will do the right thing, and party hardy and be good about it. But there's always a stray few, but nothing you can do about that, especially when you deal with millions of people.
Fair.
But I'm going to say I'm going to go with Coach Curve on this one. I think the Knicks, I think San Antonio comes out tonight the way they do every game. They come out with a flurry, and the Knicks kind of just sit there and take it and say, all right, as soon as you're done, we'll start the game. We're down 5-10, doesn't matter. I think the same thing plays out tonight. The Knicks down 5 at the end of the first quarter, 7 at the half, and here we are, 5 minutes to go in the game. The Knicks up 5-6, and there's, I think, depending on tonight's game, if OG has a good game, he could share the MVP with Brunson.
Yeah, that'd be. I would not disagree with that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, he's played beyond another level. Everybody's talking about greatest play in sports, New York sports history. I'm not putting OG's tip in up there until they win the championship.
100%.
I always say, I said this to a friend the other day. I said, listen, David Tyree's catch against New England. Listen, what if Plaxico Burress drops that touchdown pass?
Fair.
Does anybody talk about David Tyree's catch? No. They won't. Nobody will.
That's true.
Right?
Fair.
So let's leave OG's tip in where it was. It was the last game. We don't care about it because we care about tonight. Let's get the job done. Everything's exciting. We all hope it ends that way. And
it's been a great year.
In a peaceful, parade in New York City. Yeah. Again, I am politically, I don't care if you're for the mayor or not. We all have to root for this guy to do the right thing and give him the help that he needs, because I honestly don't, think, he knows what's coming.
Oh yeah. It's going to be something that's never been seen.
Yeah. And the party will be not only down the Canyon of Heroes, it's going to be from the tip of Manhattan all the way up to where the Bronx is. You got to be kidding me. Let's all have a good time, be safe about it, right, and go on our way and do the right thing.
100%.
So, listen, Coach Curve, good friend of mine and a great coach, NIAC. Okay, everybody out there, listen, if you got a daughter in 6th, 7th grade playing sports in NIAC, please look into the basketball program.
Absolutely.
You heard Coach Curve talk about it. They've solidified the varsity end of things, but to really build up a program, especially the public school program, you want those younger ones coming in 6th, 7th grade.
We actually did a clinic this past week for 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for 2nd through 6th graders. So we had a really nice turnout.
And you know what? And with the public school programs, that's exactly what you do. You get them going early, but just make sure they're playing, whether they play in a CYO league, the JCC league. There's tons of leagues out there now. Yeah. AAU starts at 4th grade now. Yeah. So you can always get involved. So everybody in the NIAC community, listen, you got your coach. You got your coach who's going to take you there. All right. He's going to develop your girls as into young role models and women as people. But you just heard his resume as a coach, where they were year one to where they're at right now. So let's get out there and support
Absolutely.
The NIAC community. And Coach Curve, listen, thank you so much, buddy, for coming down.
Tom, thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
And you guys are all going to hear a lot from Coach Curve next year, because we're putting NIAC girls basketball on our teams to watch going into the 26-27 season.
For sure.
So I'm sure you welcome the pressure for that.
For sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Listen, Curve, thank you. Have a great night.
Thank
all right.
you very much.
I appreciate everything.
Go Knicks.
Yeah, that's it. All right, everybody. That's Coach Curve from the NIAC girls varsity basketball team. And you heard him, again, program development, on any level and how it goes. He's worried about developing the entire program. He didn't even have a JV team, and now he's reaching right back out. He starts, how do we do that? He reaches right at the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th graders, getting them into a program. So if you're in the NIAC community and you're looking to even, have your girl develop some type of skills, if she's an athlete playing very well in another sport, have her come down and sign up for some of the basketball programs, because we want to be able to interview Coach Curve next year as a state champion. This is Tom Brady. We are All Things Sports here on Rockland News, and we are live at NoCo Joe's, Rockland's only family-owned sports bar, and NoCo Joe's, where every butt needs a rub. So here we are, NoCo Joe's, and we are ready. The excitement's starting to build a little bit about a little bit of a game that we got going on tonight in the NBA with the Knicks. So since we started our All Things Sports podcast, basically this past winter, it's amazing the things that can happen in our community. I've had the pleasure of, with the support of Rockland News and the owner, Tom Osa, to get out there and meet people in the community, even though I'm very well involved in the sports community, to meet people I didn't know. It's amazing what we just experienced, what I've experienced just in the 4 or 5 months since I've been doing this. You talk about amazing sports stories. We had this year, coming out of the winter sports, we had 2 high school teams accomplish three-peats of championships. We had the Suffern boys hockey team under Coach Rob Schelling win a three-peat, 3 state championships in a row. Absolutely amazing accomplishment. We had the Albertus Magnus girls basketball team under Coach Pat Buckley. They won their 3rd straight, also the 3rd straight high school state championship. Amazing things. Up in Suffern, we had a boy, one of the boys, Jake. I forget his last name. I'm sorry, Jake. But I'll give Coach Scott Wright the plug here. He coached Jake through every basket. He broke the high school career scoring record that had been standing for about 20 years here in Rockland County. Then we also had an amazing story when we talk about all things sports here in Rockland. We had one of our own from Pearl River anytime somebody makes it to the big time, we got to honor them. We had Drew Fortescue from Pearl River. He got his call up. He was drafted a few years ago in the 3rd round by the New York Rangers. This past year, he got his call up, and he finished the basically almost the second half of the season on the NHL roster. And we look forward to possibly getting Drew one day here on the show, and also supporting him in his career. And hopefully he stays, a New Yorker, a longtime Ranger, but just supporting those who come out of the Rockland community and their success. Here in All Things Sports, we also do the strength and conditioning. I'm the strength and conditioning coach, Tom Brady. We've been at gym openings. We want to support all local businesses here in Rockland. All right, so here we are. The countdown is coming. The crowd is actually starting to build a little bit more, especially at the bar here at NoCo Joe's. We are live at NoCo Joe's. And the anticipation is starting to grow. Will the Knicks finally do it? 53 years. Now, if you are even close to my age, I'm mid-50s. So if you're from your, anywhere from your late 50s, down to your mid-40s, whatever, you don't know anything. We don't remember 1973. We don't know that championship. But the Knicks got that look of a champion. They have the heart of a champion. I always call it the Villanova effect because I believe it's true. I did hear it from somebody who claimed that, and I'm telling you, it's true. You need to have the heart of a champion to be able to get there. All right, so here on All Things Sports, we're also going to talk about not only strength and conditioning, but I get into a lot of holistic nutrition. So what is holistic nutrition? What we do is we talk about the body as a whole. You look at everything, okay? What we want to do is evaluate how it is you need to be better, health-wise. It doesn't matter if you're an athlete or not an athlete. That is one of the things that I do personally. To contact me if you have any questions about strength and conditioning or holistic health, contact me at coachtjb@gmail.com. That's strengthcoachtjb@gmail.com. If you have any local sports stories, whether it's individual or a team, doesn't matter what level, if it's based out of the Rockland County area, we want to hear it. Please get in touch with us. strengthcoachtjb@gmail.com. So here we are with the All Things Sports podcast here at NoCo Joe's. Curve, all the best next year as Coach Curve makes his way out. So what we want to do today is just thank everybody for coming down here to NoCo Joe's. And even as we get somebody with an Islander shirt, that's okay. You know, we accept all kinds here. You know, so what we want to do is tell everybody thank you so much. We want to thank our host, Joe Agnello and NoCo Joe's, for hosting us tonight. The first family-owned sports bar here in Rockland County. You got to get down here. This is the place. I'm telling you, you want to come watch a game, hang out with your friends. The way he thought about this, how spacious everything is with the games, like he said. There's the games, there's the bar, and then there's a seating area to sit down and grab a bite to eat. And you know all about his food. He's had NoCo Joe's Catering for 16 years. That's how he built his reputation. So we want to thank Joe Agnello, the Agnello family, for having us here at NoCo Joe's in Piermont. And of course, tonight is the night. The Knicks end the 53 years of misery, 53 years of frustration. It all ends tonight down in San Antonio. I hope they brought a lot of tissues for the San Antonio tears that are going to happen. However, I want everybody to remember, please, party safe, do the right thing, okay? And my name is Tom Brady. I'm your host for all things sports here on Rockland News. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night.